If you step out of your house, there's no privacy anymore. And we came to some of the jobs and they said, you, the third or fourth company, they said they cannot do the way I want. I'm like, what's the way you want? Show us. I think they did some illegal stuff, who knows? And they started almost fighting with me while I'm putting the cameras. But this is not their house. I was working on their neighbor's house. You wake up in the morning thinking you're going to go to jobs, and they said, okay, we close the company.
Welcome to another episode of the Key Concepts podcast. Today we have Vlad with us, and he does a lot of camera installs and a whole bunch of other cool stuff. So let's just kind of dive into it.
About 80 to 90% of Yelp requests are fraudulent requests. It's just the bots, chat bots or whatever bots. They keep sending for all the nearby companies, but it's not a real person. Now, I had that situations probably like 10 to 15 times. Someone wrote me a request like I want the camera to be installed. And I was in Yelp. I answered immediately, less than 30 seconds or whatever. And no response. And they start reviewing or researching on Google, why is that? And realized that it's just the bots. They're just taking money off of me by clicks, because every click costs me money. Whoever clicks and send a request, it comes off of my account, and Yelp is making money that way.
So Yelp has a big bot problem. What are the main reasons people want a camera system in the first place?
Mainly crime, and as a business owners, liability questions. If something happened within the business premises, they want to know what exactly happened so they can protect the business. If someone violates the safety rules, they want to have the evidence of that and say, hey, in the court, if they go to the court, escalates to the court, so they can show, hey, this guy, we have a certain rules, he didn't put his, hard hat, simple as that, or he violated this rule, or he was smoking, that's what caused the fire or something, or when it's fight, you can review and see, who started the fight.
So when people reach out and want to figure out what kind of cameras to get, how do you go about right sizing the request?
So first of all, we have to do a site survey. I cannot tell by the phone. Sometimes they're calling and saying, hey, how much will it cost to install 6 cameras? I don't know, because I don't know your building size. Is it 1-story building, 2 stories building? What's the square footage? Where you want to have the main recorder, or you want a cloud-based system? It's all questions. So you have to just start with site survey, and then you have to understand the budget of that request.
So what are the pros and cons of a wireless versus a wired camera? What do you normally recommend?
Wired option is the best. It's more reliable. You can add the backup battery system to the whole camera system. But for the single battery operated cameras, it's good to have as a temporary solution. It's not a permanent solution. You have to understand that. And if you're spending some money, those are not cheap as well. It's better to do it the proper way from the beginning. So good point. You don't run too many cables. You don't see pretty much anything. Easy to install, just 2-3 screws on the fascia board, or whatever you want it. And the bad thing, when your internet is down, there is nothing is recording there, basically. You don't see anything. And whatever happened, if you have power outages, there's no internet connection, you see nothing.
If the camera was a wireless camera, battery powered, and it was an outage, would you still be able to record during the outage?
Some of them have that options, some of them not. If you add the backup battery, it will last for 2-3 hours. The benefit of having the hardwire connection, there is a 24/7 recording. Every second, keep recording. The wireless cameras cannot have that option just because of the battery operated. So basically, the wireless cameras, how they work, if they detect the motion, they just give you that short clip. But you don't see what happened before. You don't see what happened after when that person moved out of the field of view, basically. But maybe he stood too far. When it's recording 24/7, you can see him even though he's far. But like I said, the wireless cameras don't have that.
What would you recommend for like the minimum setup, and what is kind of overboard for the amount of cameras that people need?
Here's the deal. If it's just a square house, the normal square shape, four is enough. You have to understand that there are dead spots under each camera, straight under the camera. There is no view on it. So you have to realize what's important for you. Do you want to see all the windows around the house? Whoever breaks in through the window, you can catch that moment. Do you want to see the front door? Or some of the systems now coming with the integrated doorbell, so you can integrate with your camera system. So it will record continuous recording 24/7 through the doorbell as well. It all depends on the customer's need. Some of the customers saying, hey, I just have 2 expensive cars in my garage. I just want one camera in my garage, But some of them saying, hey, I want to see all around. Even my neighbors, I installed some camera for one of the house, and the neighbor came. I think they did some illegal stuff, who knows? And they started almost fighting with me why I'm putting the cameras. But this is not their house. I was working on their neighbor's house. Bad neighborhoods usually have those complaints. The normal neighborhoods never had that complaints. If you step out of your house, there's no privacy anymore.
When you're doing the installs, what are like the common mistakes that you run into?
If I look back on my first installations, now I wouldn't do that way. I'll do a little bit different, nicer way, cleaner way. But you're learning. Everything is unlearned, No one will teach you from A to Z how to do every little detail, how far away, how far apart, put the screw clips to clip the cable, or something. It all depends. It all depends how you want to do the job. And of course, depends on the customer's budget as well.
When you set up a camera, let's say someone, whether it's a business or a residential setup, once they have it set up, what do they have to configure in the settings?
We just download the application on the phone, and I just explain how to set up the notifications. Basically, you can put the notifications during the motion, 24/7, or only certain period of time. Let's say after hours. So during the business hours, no, notifications coming on your phone.
What are some of the better brands of cameras that you've worked with?
The most advanced ones are Ubiquiti. Those are expensive. It's an enterprise level. Big facilities, they use those. It's a digital IP cameras, PoE cameras, basically. It's integrated with so many stuff. With the door access, you can use your phone, NFC, whatever is built into the phone, just to tap your phone, open the door, get into the house or any business. Dahua, one of the brands, but their interface is not that great. But using the Dahua components, the Monteview making the great camera systems. Basically, they're using the Dahua components, they're adding their interface, so basically it's a new brand. But the camera itself, in fact, is the same camera, Lorex, that one is good for residentials and small commercial buildings.
What do you think about like Nest and Google cameras? Are they worth it?
Those are toys.
As you go into getting ready for the job, what kind of tools is it? Is it like just a drill?
Drill, impact, angle cutter, crimpers for the cables, cable testers, toners, so you can tone out the cable to find out what is the other end of the cable, especially in a large facilities with the huge server racks. So basically, ladders, scissor lifts. By the way, you need a license to operate the scissor lift. Don't forget that.
So if you need a license for the scissor lift, do you need a license to do the camera install as well?
If it's a residential under $500 or $600, you don't need the license.
$500 or $600
dollars.
Oh, for the install.
Dollars, yeah, for the install.
So do you have to get a new license for every house, or do you have just
No.
like a general license for?
Just C7 is the low voltage license.
And that lets you do your camera installs.
Mm-hmm. Not only camera, everything, including the fiber optics. That's what we do as well for the long run.
So how do you get your C7 license? Is that you go take a test at the county or city?
State license board, you go to state license board. Just fill the form, get the license.
And does that cover all of California, or is it just for one city?
No, it's California.
All of California.
State. As I know, it's a state. It's not the city. It's just a state. And I don't know in how many states it's valid.
It's good for. Yeah, you may have to get a different one for another state. That makes sense. How do you market yourself?
Pretty much word of mouth. That's 90% of my work.
Nice. So it sounds like it just kind of grows. There's a need for it. And once you have one, then they refer, the next person refers the next, and then it keeps going.
As long as you do your job, good. You have to do it good, especially when you're starting, and keep that level, high level of the customer satisfaction. If you have that, you'll have jobs, always you'll have a work.
How does Horizon Security differentiate itself?
I'll tell you that, first of all, the quality, and the second, we do impossible jobs.
Impossible jobs?
Impossible jobs. There were so many people, and we came to some of the jobs, and they said, you, the third or fourth company, they said they cannot do the way I want. I'm like, what's the way you want? Show us. He's like, yeah, I want this, that. I said, well, let me think what we can do in this point. We just go with my partners, discuss what's the possibility of doing this job, researching what kind of tools needed to do the way the customer wants, and how much it will cost to the customer. If the customer wants the certain way, what's the problem not doing that way? What's preventing us to do that way? If it's only the money, we can tell the customer, okay, this work will cost you that much. If he agrees, what's the problem to do that? If it's physically possible, why not to do that?
If someone wants to get a camera installed and they mention the Key Concepts podcast, can we give them a 5% discount as a referral code?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you guys heard it here. If you guys need your camera installed, call Vlad, message him on Instagram, call him, reach out to the website, whatever works, and mention the Key Concepts podcast. We'll get you a 5% discount code applied to whatever quote that he gives you guys.
All right. Sounds good.
Nice. We'll make that work. If you were to start all over again today, getting into the camera installs in this line of work, would you do anything differently at all?
I'm not sure. It's going to be same path anyways.
Yeah, if it works, it works, I guess, So you just, I guess the biggest thing is don't let it stop you, right? Like, don't be.
If you made a mistake, admit it, fix it, and make the customer happy.
Yeah, and just give it a shot. Like, don't let yourself stop you from getting into it if there's a passion there. What made you get into camera installation versus a different field? Like, why'd you pick this?
I just saw the demand on it. And, there was a job. I was a DirecTV contractor for years. And lately, DirecTV company goes down and they cut the contractors. They fire the contractors. In one day, you wake up in the morning thinking you're going to you're going to have jobs. And they said, okay, we close the company. No prior notice, nothing. And it happened to me a few times. And I said, no, okay, I cannot rely on being a contractor for the different companies. I need something which I can make my living through those hard times. Of course, I'm still doing the satellite installations. I did the satellite for Viasat company. I did the satellite for Dish Network, DirecTV. I'm installing Elon Musk's Starlink. So I can install everything for pretty much whatever related to low voltage.
If someone was to get into the camera installation business today, what kind of advice would you give them?
Go for it. Just try. First of all, everyone have so many friends. They live in different houses or something, and they might not have the cameras. Offer them and say, hey, buddy, I can install the camera for you. You just pay for the cameras, or we can split the price. I just want to try on your house if you don't own your house. First, start with your own house if you live in a house, Install for yourself, see how it works, and then try for your neighbors, friends, and go on.
Yeah, and word of mouth will spread from there on out.
Mm-hmm. You didn't ask me about the long-distance camera installations.
Let's
says you have like 40 acres of land. How are you going to do that? We have the Mazer airfield. Close to them, I installed the large facility, and I installed the wireless transmitters, which transfers that camera signals for, I think, 4 or 5 miles. And I realized when the aircraft is landing, it shuts down the cameras. Basically, when they start their radar, it jams my signals. I lost a lot of money on that project.
Wow.
I didn't expect it was going to be that hard. I installed everything. Everything was working. And all of a sudden, customers calling me, hey, there's interruptions. And camera broadcasting. I'm like, what the heck? I'm coming, checking everything. Everything is working. I'm leaving. It's not working for a minute or two or for 10 minutes, and it start working again. But I learned. I paid for my experience basically. And I found a radio channel which not jammed by other equipment.
Do animals ever chew the wires? Do you run into that at all?
That's a good question. Yes. Rats, mice, raccoons sometimes mess with cables. Rats in your attics, especially business, large facilities like warehouses, they have that problem. They chew the cable, they shorten the cable. The least damage they can do is just damage the cable, so you can fix that. But if it's shortage, it might burn the network switch. Some of the advanced network switches, they are more expensive. They have isolated ports, which means if something wrong is on one of those ports, it isolates and shuts off that port. It doesn't burn the whole switch. So make sure you buy the right equipment, because you don't want to leave people without internet, because on those switches not only cameras connected, on those switches connected the IP phones, the Wi-Fi routers, the hardwired computers, printers, fax machines, and everything, and so on and so on.
Is there a way to prevent animals from chewing on cables? Is there a different material that's bite proof at all?
Yes, conduits. It's expensive for the customers. For every customer or just a new business, you need to spend a lot of money to run the conduits all over the place. It's not cheap. I mean, if you have money, we have no problem to install it for you.
And the
but
conduit
the average customer doesn't want. It's a 3/4 or 1 inch.
And the conduit, is that like a metal tube pipe? Yeah.
Metal or plastic, depends.
And then the wires will just be fished through that so that it doesn't get chewed up by animals.
There is actually another type of cameras. If you don't have any internet connection, there is no way to have the power. There's a new type of the cameras. The UFI is making the great product. Actually, I'm building the house right now. There is no power, no internet. It's just ground up building. And I installed one of those cameras. So far, I'm happy. It's a subscription-based 4G. It works off of the 4G network. Was the solar powered. Of course, it's temporary solution. It's not going to stay there for long. Once I finish the building, I'm going to remove that camera, obviously. But if you have the construction zones or something, you might want to have something. You want to keep an eye on the materials, building materials which are there, So here's another problem with the customers. They don't see what you can see. You have to explain, and sometimes they don't agree with you. And I said, 4 cameras is not going to be enough to cover around the house, because there's different shapes. It's not like rectangular or square shape. There's so many turns and corners in the custom house. And I ran the way he wants. I shouldn't do that, but I did it whatever he wants. And when the house was 100% built, I came, installed the cameras, whatever field of view it has, and he said, oh, I cannot see this side. I cannot see that side. I'm like, that's what I tried to explain to you. And it's too late. Can you add the cable? I'm like, yeah, but it's going to be visible now because it's not inside of the walls, And it's a stucco walls. I mean, if you want, I can make a hole here, and you need to repair those walls. It's a brand new walls, And, he wasn't very satisfied. But still, I take it as my fault because I wasn't able to explain. And the difference between my way and his way was only $100. He tries to save that $100, which cost him later a lot more to install those wires,
The builders should really think about what that's going to look like, because it's important to have the cameras nowadays.
It makes the neighborhood safer at least a little bit. If some of the houses in the same neighborhood have the cameras, at least you can track down which car was there, so you can give that information to the authorities so they can find those people. There are special cameras called license plate readers, LPRs. They capture specifically the license plates. Those are expensive. Some of them are $1,000 per camera, some of them $700, But if you really want to capture license plate, you have to have something like that. This special cameras. And you need 2 to capture both ways, front and back license plates. There are so many vehicles without the front license plate.
So I could see that for maybe commercial, but you never know. Maybe residential wants to have that as well. You could always zoom in, right, and play back and try to read the camera.
The nighttime, the cameras, whatever cameras we have, doesn't give you that clear picture, especially on license plate, something small, you know. You can see the vehicle, you can understand what kind of brand, make, model, you know. The license plate, you have to have something specific to focus only on the license plates.
All right, I think that kind of wraps us up then. Vlad, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Key Concepts podcast. It was a pleasure going through all the camera setups and how you go about your work. Why don't you share your website and social media handles one more time for the viewers out there that may want to follow you? And let's remind them about that discount code.
So basically 5% discount if you mention this beautiful guy.
Key Concepts podcast.
Yeah, so, and it's a hz-security.com is the website, and the same hz_security in Instagram.
All right. Well, thank you guys again for joining and tuning in. If you guys have questions, we would love to bring Vlad back to answer them. So drop the questions in the comments below, and we'll get to them if we can in the comment section. And if there's enough in there that warrants another episodes, we'll do a follow-up. That sounds good. With that, have a great rest of your day and take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me tonight.
Thanks, Vlad. Appreciate it.